They done sent Derek to the upper room. Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome back to the next episode of the Deep Dive with Toya Creates. Now, I am just catching up on last week's Beyond the Gates. And let me tell you what, I sure did pick a great week to not be on schedule. But it wasn't my fault. It was my baby's birthday, and things just got off track. But whatever, here I am to talk about the week of May 18th up until today's episode, which is Tuesday, May 26th. But per usual, if you like content like this, please like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, all the things. I would love to chat with you about these crazy storylines. So let's get into it. Okay, so on Monday, May 18th, we finally saw this cotillion come to fruition, okay? We started with the Dupree women being in full cotillion prep and they are getting ready at Nicole's house. So apparently, this is part of a tradition. The women are usually over there, and the male Duprees are over at the estate. So we literally see everyone over there: Nicole, Danny, Samantha, of course, Jessica, of course, Kat. Was Naomi there? Maybe. Cat for sure. I don't remember saying Chelsea either, but maybe they were. Anyways, everyone is there. They are getting their hair and makeup done there, and they are going to put on their dresses at the estate for a traditional picture on the steps. So everyone's, talking about the cotillion, and Anita Dupree pops up. She is not feeling 100%, but she was like refusing to miss her great granddaughter's big moment. And Samantha was so happy to see her. Like, I really good acting. I feel the love between these two characters. It was great. So then, Danny was looking a little concerned to Nicole, but Anita talked them down, and Anita gonna do what she want to do anyways. So meanwhile, like I said, the men are getting ready over at the estate. They even included Ted, which was very nice because Ted, you know, he got in trouble. So Ted was like telling Vernon that he appreciated being included and that he would still love to be there for Vernon and Anita should they ever need him. I'm like, okay, Bill number two. They can't quit these Duprees anyways. So that was a nice moment and everyone's just getting along. We got Tyrell, we got Martin, we got Smitty, we got Ted, we got Vernon, and we have Andre doing the picture. So that was I love it. I understand this. I love it. When there's an event, that's exactly how the things be going. So while the men are getting ready and just relaxing and taking pictures, Smitty gets a text from Jacob with an update that the Impaler might be moving their operations out of DC. And Jacob and Smitty are a little nervous because like this could throw off everything, and they have dedicated months to this, like real months, not soap months to this. And so nobody wants to hear that. So then we also saw Haley and Bill. They were just out to dinner, just, relaxing. Bill is kind of questioning Haley. He's not doing it in an like aggressive or a weird way. He's just fishing for more information about her past. So we find out, or I don't know if they said this before, but Bill was talking about how Haley was from Philly and that's basically all he knew. And he actually offered to take her back to Philly to reconnect with her past. Now, why did he ask that? Because she flipped out at that table like, no, you can't do that, Bill. Way to be subtle, Haley. Apparently, all of the people that she knew in Philly were either locked up or other. And she cut connections with them and she's lost, she's cut ties with them and she has lost the connection. So, Bill is a little weirded out by this, but per usual, Bill lets it slide because Haley can do no wrong. Anyways, we also see Grayson popping up at Ashley. She's like, "What?" Basically, like, "Are you ready to tell me the truth?" Grayson is there and he has given Ashley power of attorney for his mother. And, he for his mother and himself basically. And he tells Ashley that she is the only person that he can trust and he hates to be pushy because Ashley's like, "What is going on? You are scaring me even more." Okay, what is going on? And Grayson, once again, he promises to tell her everything when it's over. He maintains he's trying to protect her and blah blah blah. Which is true, but Ashley is sick of this. And Grace is like, "I don't mean to push, but I really need an answer to this question now." So she begrudgingly agrees to this. And then Grayson goes on about his business because Grayson has been given he's been voluntold by Leah to take himself over to that clinic and get my plasma. I don't care how you got to do it. Figure it out. Okay. So after Grayson handles this with Ashley, he goes over to the clinic and he is in the middle of stealing blood plasma out of the safe because remember the week before Eva caught him in there, but he was able to play that off and he was able to see the passcode to the safe because Eva did not cover it or anything and he was right there looking. So he's in there, he's got fist full of blood, and who pops up? Derek. And Derek was like, "I knew it. I knew you weren't trustworthy. I'm calling the cops." And Grayson was just like, "Look, I don't have time for this. You can call the cops if you want, but I'm already working with them. Okay, me and Jacob are working on an undercover, okay, or we are working on this case together." And Derek is like, "You must think I'm Boo Boo the fool," because Derek's like, "I don't believe you." And Grayson was just like, "Look, I don't have time. The police are already aware. I'm working with Jacob. You need to get out of my way, or me and Ashley are going to be in danger." And so at that point, Grayson was like, "Get out of my way," and moves Derek out of the way. And he goes on about his business because Grayson has been threatened. If he doesn't make this delivery, he's going to be sleeping with the fishes. Okay. And so Grayson does not want to be unalive. So he's like, "Derek, get out of my way." And that's how we end that scene. So then the final thing that we see in that episode was Samantha is finally ready. Okay, so Eva has come over and she has offered to do hair and makeup for Samantha and her whole crew. Oh my gosh, let me back up a little bit. We also saw, oh my god, Jessica getting ready as well. Little Miss Militant, she's not here for it, but she is just basically doing this because her parents are making her. And Anita tried to, explain the importance of the cotillion to her, but she is a little feminist and she don't care about none of this. Okay, but she's being respectful and she's being cool and she's being a good support for Samantha, who is a ball of nerves because she is very nervous about disappointing the family by not winning platinum debutante, even though everyone is like, "You could never be a disappointment and just please relax." Ugh. And then Eva was there and once again Eva was there, like, talk speaking life into her, making her look beautiful. And like when Samantha saw herself in the mirror, she was just like just like overwhelmed with everything. And then Eva also got June together. First of all, June showed up looking real good in that dress. Apparently, the dads picked out a dress for her with Nicole's help. And so she was only there to get her hair fixed. Now, she came in with a short natural and left with a short pixie-ish wig, whatever. It was cute nonetheless. So whatever. So everyone is done prepping there. Eva and Kat do cross paths and they have a little bit of snark because Kat just just cannot help herself. But other than that, at this point, everyone's done. They are heading over to the estate. The women are getting dressed up, and now it is finally time for Samantha to come down the stairwell and get ready to go to the cotillion. And oh my God, she was dressed in all white, this beautiful dress. It could easily be a wedding dress, if you wanted a kind of low key thing or, quick wedding dress. But she looked so good. It was so nice to see, and everyone was just like in awe when she came out and she came down the steps and everyone was cheering. Like everyone was at the house. I love how the Duprees be there for each other. And I love how they just rally and support and make a big hoopla out of all of these significant milestones. So that is how we ended Monday. Okay. And I was very ready for this cotillion. So then on Tuesday, the 19th, the cotillion is getting ready to start, and Samantha is frantic because Donnell is nowhere to be found. I mean, it is almost time for the Debs to line up, and she has no idea where Donnell is. So Jessica's trying to talk her down, just like, don't spiral just yet. There's still time. And, you know, even if he doesn't make it, Jessica was very willing to give up her date, who is Samantha's brother, Tyrell, which was very nice. Jessica is she's super militant and super irritating at times, but she good people, whatever. So they are lined up, and Donnell is still nowhere to be found. And like I said, Jessica was like, look, Tyrell, you need to escort your sister. I could do this alone. And Samantha's like, no. So Francesca can't talk about me. And sure enough, Francesca, who is this annoying ass granddaughter of this Anastasia Belair, she just, oh my God, just she's too much. Of course, she was over there like, like you're pathetic, this and that. Oh, you're not gonna have a date. Oh, Nathan this and Nathan that, because Nathan was with Samantha before, and they almost did the do, but they were interrupted, and then Samantha got in trouble, and then Nathan lost interest because he couldn't get up under her skirt, and so he started chasing Francesca, and now Nathan is escorting Francesca to this event. It's just despicable. Whatever. So that's happening backstage, and Martin is notified that they cannot find Donnell. And so Vanessa happens to walk by, and so he asks Vanessa to please call your son. Like, I'm gonna be on standby just in case I need to step in, but like, please call your son and see where he is. So Vanessa is having a little spiral about this because after Doug's death, she is now going to worst case scenarios about everything. So she's on the phone, well, she's on Donnell's voicemail because he ain't picked up, and she is chewing him out in this voicemail. You have a very important, beautiful lady here waiting. It is not okay for you to not show up. Where are you? Answer me, please. I'm getting nervous. Full on spiral. Okay, so then we don't know where Donnell is. It is time for the cotillion to start. They are literally lining up. Oh, we also had an issue with Miss Emma Jean, I believe that is her name. She was supposed to be hosting the event. Unfortunately, she got sick, and so Kat and Chelsea and Anita devised a plan. Dupree women stand up. Devised a plan to so the event could go on. So basically, they split up the hosting duties amongst themselves. We saw Kat and Chelsea first, and they did a great job of like really explaining the purpose of the evening and just opening everything up. I enjoyed it. I learned a little bit. So then it is time for the debutantes to line up. They are literally calling names at this point. Uh and so they get to Samantha's name, and Donnell is still not there. But Samantha puts on her big girl panties, she lines up and she fixes her out. You can see the switch flip on her face. But this hating girlfriend, Cheska. So Samantha is about to walk. There's like a little it's like two steps into this like runway or not runway, just the area where everyone is, where you present yourself as a debutante. So Samantha walks up, and why does this heifer step on her dress? Francesca steps on the back of Samantha's dress to purposely try to make her fall. So as Samantha is mid fall, and the room is like, Donnell appears, honey, like a Disney prince with his little side part and slicked down. And he catches her right before she falls. And I'm like, that's right, Donnell. That's right. So Francesca's looking stupid, and Samantha is able to recover, and she presents herself as a debutante. They did great. So then we see some other girls, and then we get to Jessica. My God, today. Jessica. So Jessica does not very much care about this cotillion. She feels it's part of the patriarchy and all of those things, and it's uppity and it's hoity-toity, and it ain't her thing. So Tyrell is up there escorting her. They are doing everything by the book at first. When Tyrell leaves, and it's just Jessica's time to have. Why does she hit a little twirl to work? Oh my God. And the uppity people are like, pearls, clutch, disgusted, especially Jessica's parents. We'll get to that later because they were big. Now, Danny was over there. She was so Danny never had a cotillion because she was out being a model. So she was like, this is a little boring. So beforehand, she had told Anita, like, I hope there's something here to spice this up. So after Jessica did her little twirl, Danny was like, all right, now that girl has spice. I liked it, and Danny liked it too. Whatever. Everyone else was mad. Who cares? So then we see the I don't know what you call it, the cotillion I guess just the debutantes. We see the debutantes with their dates, adding their own little TikTok flair to the waltz. Cute. I liked it. First of all, it's giving me Cinderella, Rogers and Hammerstein. I love it. I'm here for this type of hoity-toity event, even though I'm not hoity-toity for real. Anyway, so they're doing all of that, and they're doing all the pomp and circumstance, and it's really cute. So then we saw Nicole and Danny. They presented, I forgot what they presented, but they stepped in really quickly and they did their little part in the program, and that was fine. And then we had what else did we have? I'm trying to remember if this was before or after. I think it was before. So like I said, Jessica did her little twirl twerk just to spice things up. Why did her parents, first of all, yuck. They're the type of uppity people that boring. I can't stand it. The mother had to fly in, I believe, from Dubai just to be at the event. I don't know where the dad was this whole time, but it was weird energy when they reunited anyway. So after the twirl twerk, Papa Jessica was like, "You are an embarrassment." Is it that damn serious? Who cares? This is a child. Who cares? He's like, you embarrassed me. I can't believe you acted like that. And you're just. So after that, Jessica was like, you know what? You know what, Tyrell? Let's blow this joint. Okay. So, you know, Tyrell and Jessica sneak on off. While I mean, people are distracted. No one's really paying attention because there's so much going on, and they just scoot on out of there. So then I believe that was the time. Um, I'm just looking at my notes. Anita is leading the crowning portion of the cotillion, and she introduces Deanna as a former platinum debutante to come and crown the new one. Okay, so then Deanna enters in this black lace dress, very cute, and she stands out for sure as everyone else is in white. And I was like, oh God, she's about to tear this event up. But no, she did not. Deanna did a great job talking about the purpose, talking about why she was there, and ready to crown this new person. Okay, cool. So then at the warehouse. Not only did we get the cotillion last week, we got the epic conclusion of the blood plasma ring. And I was like, thank God, I am tired of this. So Jacob is over at the warehouse and he is in his in too deep mode, you know. He's talking to Ren, getting ready for the VIP visitors, and Ren is getting annoyed because Jacob is once again asking too many questions. Like it's very obvious if you start asking, "Well, who's coming? And what's their title? And what?" Ren is like, "Why you need to know all of this? Move these boxes and hush." So then we also see Elon and Marcel. They are out in the parking lot surveying everything, waiting for Jacob's signal. I believe his signal is supposed to be that he is supposed to leave a door open. And so that way they know to basically go in and get the bad people. Okay. So they're out there and they're just talking about everything and they're just scoping it out. So one plainclothes officer finds Randy sniffing around because before this, Joey had told Randy, get over there, I want to know what's going on in this warehouse. But Joey has been claiming up and down he has nothing to do with this, but I don't believe it. And I love Joey, but he lying. He knows something because we saw the other week he definitely alerted Leah to, I believe, Smitty digging around, and even I think we saw him call someone else about, or he was talking to Randy about it the other day as well. So Joey definitely is involved, but whatever. So Randy was doing his little job lurking around. He gets caught. The guy brings him over to Elon and Marcel, and they're like, yeah, we know him. Put him in the back, right? So then they asking Randy, like, what are you doing here? And Randy, well, I was minding my black business eating my turkey sandwich. Hush, enough. I love people saying I was minding my black business. Anyways, man, Marcella and Elon were like, we are not buying that. Your boss told us you weren't involved yet. Your boss told us he was not involved in this yet. You are here. So what's really going on? So they keep going back and forth and we see that for a little while, and then we're looking at things going on in the warehouse and going on outside of the warehouse. So then Leah is supposed to be at a board meeting, so she is not supposed to be at this warehouse. Now Jacob is in there doing his little duty. His disguise is a baseball cap. Anyways, he's in there, and before this, we also see Derek has popped up at this warehouse. And Jacob is like, what are you doing here? Do you think this is a joke? And Derek, bless his heart, he's like, I follow Grace in here. Why are you dressed like that? Why are you talking like that? Dressed like what? What does he wear on a regular? I guess he just wears a button up and slacks on the regular. He's in a freaking puffer vest and a shirt. He's not dressed too weirdly. Whatever. But Derek is not picking up on the clues, honey. And Jacob was like, this is not a game. Like, this is dangerous. Why are you here? And Grayson was just like, Grayson basically followed, I'm sorry, Derek followed Grayson because he did not believe what he said, and so he had to see it for himself. So now Jacob was like, good Lord, now I gotta hide this man. So he tells Derek to just get out of sight. He says, I'm undercover. I'll tell you later. You cannot blow this for me. Get hidden and get hidden now. So the second he hides Derek, Jacob goes back to working, but he hears a familiar voice and he sees Leah off in the distance. And she's telling Ren, like, yeah, I was able to sneak out of that boring board meeting. And she wanted to be there just to, like, make sure everything was going to plan. And then she sees Jacob, aka Rashad, down the little hallway, and she's like, oh, how's that one doing? Is he back in line? And Ren was like, yeah, after I knocked him upside his head, he got some sense. He ain't asked no questions. So then Leah wanted to go over there and just confirm because she can't believe Ren or anybody else or what she sees with her own eyes. So Jacob's over there trying to hide his face a little bit, but I'm like, baby, you only have on a baseball cap, like I said earlier. This is just dumb. Anyways, so he has his back turned to Leah while she's talking to him, and she's like, hey, I'm talking like you better make sure you're on, you listen to us, you don't do anything else wrong, and do you hear me? And he's not really answering, he's like, like kind of acknowledging her. And so she gets frustrated and she was like, turn around and take off your hat. Let me see your face. When he turns around, Leah folded so fast. 2.5 seconds. She was like, Jacob Hawthorne. I will cooperate. Instantly, okay? She is like, I want a deal. I will fully cooperate. So then at that point, Ren is coming down the hallway to talk to Leah, and he's like, Leah, we got a rat. And he figured out, or he guessed, sorry, he assumed that Grayson was the rat, and he's accusing Grayson of squealing. So then, at this point, Jacob has no choice but to try to arrest the bad guy. So he draws his weapon when Ren walks up and he's like, put your hands up or whatever. And Ren's like, you too? And he's looking at Leah because Leah's on the side with Jacob because she like, and she ain't saying nothing. So Jacob is trying to arrest Ren, and Derek is still hiding behind the crates in the back. Jacob does not see another henchman walking up behind him, but Derek does. So then we see someone trying to the henchman is walking up with a gun aimed directly at Jacob's head. And so Derek comes out of hiding, and all we see at the end is Leah on the ground, Grayson on the ground, and they appear to be okay. We see Jacob on the ground, not awake, and we do not see Derek, and that's how it ends. So Wednesday, May 20th was peak. Absolute cinema. Okay. So we open at the warehouse. We still see Jacob on the ground. Elon and Marcel have now run inside because they were like, shots fired, shots fired. And they jumped out of the car and they ran inside. So then we see Elon desperately trying to wake his son up because he's scared. He thinks Jacob has been shot, and that he's out. So Jacob finally comes around. And then we also see, unfortunately, Derek has taken a bullet for Jacob and he's losing a lot of blood. So Marcel is attempting to arrest Leah in the moment, and she's talking about her heart condition and she's asking to go to the hospital. And Grayson is up, he's trying to stop the bleeding for Derek. Leah jumps into, or she wants to jump in to help Derek as well. She convinces Marcel to let her go because she's like, I know what to do, please let me go before it's too late. And so he does, and she's looking for, like, I think saran wrap to cover the hole and to keep whatever, and then they call the ambulance. So she tries her best, and so is Grayson. So then Elon, once they get Derek, like, out of there, Elon is catching up with Grayson. He's telling him, don't leave town. And he said someone ratted him out. I think he said someone in the office ratted him out, but I did not hear. Either way, someone blew up this case and it was not Derek. And so, or shoot, maybe it was Derek. Maybe he actually did call the police. I don't know. But Elon told Grayson not to leave town. Okay? So that's where we were at that point. So then we are back to the cotillion. And like I said, Anita was presenting the person who was going to crown the new Platinum Deb, and that was Deanna, and she is a former Platinum Deb. So Deanna is reading the envelope, and she's like, I think there's a mistake here. And everyone's like, what? What? So Kat comes up and she's asking Deanna what's going on, and she covers the mic. And she's like, well, whose name is on the card? And like everyone's up at the podium at this point. Anastasia's up there too, because girl, her whole life depends on this damn event. Who cares? So Kat's like, whose name is on it? And Deanna was like, Francesca. She said it so quiet, but Anastasia, who's the bionic woman over here, was like, yes, my granddaughter won. Give her the crown. She's snatching the crown. She's snatching the sash or the banner, whatever you call it. And she's putting, she has crowned Francesca. Okay. So then the room is like, "Hmm, yay. But then Deanna, being who she is, she's like, no, I still suspect something is wrong, and we should call Miss Imogene to verify this. And then they look at the card a little longer, and Kat notices that it's not embossed like it usually is. Like traditionally, it's gold lettering, it's embossed, it's this. And she was like, who did? Because Francesca's name is spelled with a K. You spelled the name wrong. And Anastasia's like, what? I mean, well, whatever. While Danny's over there saying, no way in hell did this girl win. So everyone's trying to figure it out. Donnell, I call them the Wonder Twins now. Donnell is peeping around the room now. Nathan, who is Francesca's date and Samantha's ex, is in there drunk as a skunk. Okay, so he's at the table, litty to titty, and his tux jacket is open. So Donnell, bionic vision, he sees the envelope sticking out of Nathan's coat pocket, and he goes over there, he snatches it out of his pocket, and Nathan tries to like protest, but man, Donnell was like, sit your ass down. Basically, I was like, okay, Donnell, all right, I like that. He told him to sit down, and he was like, is this the letter we were looking for? Dun, dun, dun. They're like, yes, that's it. So then we find out that Nathan has done this in an act of love, I guess, but he had stolen the card, forged one, misspelling his boo's name just to give her way. So Ted, Andre, and maybe another dude physically removed Nathan because everyone's sick of his antics at this point. And on his way out, he's like, I did it for you, baby. I'm like, oh my God, the ghetto. I can't. So then Anastasia's just sitting there looking stupid, and so is Francesca. And they read the real card, and of course, Samantha is the winner. And the best part is that there was originally a tie for the top, and the decision was made by a peer vote. So Francesca is trash because she's a sucky person, and no one voted for her. They all voted for Samantha. So Samantha is rightfully crowned. And the best part for me was that Francesca was the one to put the crown and the sash on her. I was like, you better make a table before me in front of my enemies. Loved it. And Francesca was like, congratulations. And then she just left. And she was telling her grandmother to stop because her grandmother just would not let it go. Like, crown her, give her the crown, get over it. So then all of that is wrapped up, and everything's going well. It's time to party. So this is around the time Martin and Smitty notice, oh, well, where's Tyrell? We're going to kill him for missing Samantha's big moment. Where is he? Where are they? And they are told, I think, like by maybe security or something. Because Tyrell ditched his security, but someone saw Tyrell and Jessica leaving. And so Martin and Smitty know what's up, and they're just like whatever at this point. Like they are planning on having another firm conversation with him later, but they pretty much know what's going on. So then Jessica's parents also noticed, like, they're like, where is Jessica? And the dad was like, I don't know, probably somewhere embarrassing me again. Oh my God. So then they go over to Martin during one of the dances or whatever, and they're like, have you seen Tyrell and Jessica? And so Martin's like, yeah, I mean, someone told us that they saw Tyrell and Jessica leave, but they're safe and they're fine. And dad was not pleased. Jessica's dad was like, And why didn't you tell us this? I mean, I get it, but also, and he also accused my like, what is has your son gotten my daughter into your daughter? Meanwhile, this girl, they have slipped away. They are at her beach house that her parents don't even know she has a key to. So they have snuck in there and they are about to share or partake in each other for the first time as a couple. I say that because Jessica has already been deflowered, but Tyrell has not. So I really like how they handled this scene. It was very appropriate, very nice. You know, he made sure to ask for consent. Are you sure you want to do this? And she was like, yes. And then she was like, but are you sure you want to do this? So I like mutual consent. And she was like, we don't have to do this if you are not comfortable. We could just lay here and hang out. It's up to you, but I do want this. And he was like, I want this too. And so Tyrell became a man. So then post coitus, they start talking about their future, and he's upset because Jessica is going to UCLA while Tyrell stays at Banneker. So they are worried about this long distance relationship, but they agree to try to make it work. And that's where we're going to leave that. So then, let's see. So then, Ashley has been at the hospital. She's been working and she's about to wrap up her shift when someone calls and says there's a gunshot victim being brought in. So, Shanice and Ashley are getting prepared for this person to be brought in. They don't know who it is. And so, Jacob comes out of that elevator with Derek on the gurney, and Ashley loses it. Okay. Now, Naomi is kind of right behind them because Joey had given Vanessa a heads up at the cotillion that something went down at the warehouse and that Jacob may have been hurt and that Naomi should go to the hospital and check, which was nice of him to do. So Vanessa passed on that message and Naomi ran up out of that cotillion. So by the time Jacob and Derek arrive, Naomi is like right behind them. So Ashley's losing it when she sees Derek, and Derek tells her not to be scared and that he loves her, and they wheeled him off for surgery. I'm like, okay. So then, Ashley is there. Jacob is consoling her. Naomi's here at this point. She's like, "Oh my God, thank God you're safe, Jacob." But that's when Jacob also tells Naomi, like, "Well, Derek got shot," and so they're all like rallying around Ashley, which is great. So then Marcel brings Leah in because remember she claims she has a heart condition and she wants to be checked out because the day has been a day for her. So when that elevator door opens, boy, Ashley was activated. She was like, "You bitch, this is your fault. You did this to Derek." And she was ready to claw Leah up. And I was like, they should have let her. Anyways, so they pull her back and they take Leah on off to the room to be assessed. Okay. So let me see what else. So then Grayson is at the hospital as well. And Ashley is just like, what happened? So Grayson is explaining to Ashley that Derek followed him after catching him stealing the plasma and that Derek was just trying to protect Ashley. So that is a lot. And Grace is doing his best. He's like, he feels terrible about everything. He has donated blood to Derek. He said he tried to stop the bleeding. Like, he's done everything that he can. So this is just a lot. So everyone's just waiting in the reception area for the news. Ashley, who again is a a nurse, she sees the surgeon come out and she's like, something went wrong. He's out too early. Now, why is Jacob and Naomi? I mean, I know they're trying to make things like light or like, oh, maybe it's not, maybe not. She knows. She's a nurse. So she knew immediately something was wrong. So then the surgeon went over to Shanice and he's telling her what happened. We don't hear, but Shanice is just like, it looks like somebody punched her in her gut. Not that she has a gut, her stomach. Like the wind was knocked out of her. And then she turns around and looks at Ashley and she walks her over to them and she just and Ashley just Derek is dead. They didn't send him to the upper room. I was like, dang. I had heard rumors that someone might get killed, but I did not think they were really gonna do it. But yeah, Derek is with the Angels. Okay, so Thursday, May 21st. Ashley is gutted behind this. Okay. She's just like she don't want to do nothing. She don't care about nothing. Naomi is there. They are at Ashley's house just trying to, Ashley ain't taking no shower, no nothing. Naomi's like, "Don't you want to?" No. What's the point? I don't care anymore. Okay. So Ashley's fully grieving, fully depressed at this point. She feels like she lost the love of her life despite them being done for months before he died. And she just keeps replaying their last conversation. And she feels like Derek may have known that he was about to go because, she's reflecting back to their last conversation, which was in the hospital, with him just saying that he would always be there for her, and that was it. And they had a good conversation the last time they spoke, but Ashley is fully in the throes of grief, and that makes total sense to me. People are like dogging this girl out online so bad, like, "Oh my god, I'm so tired of her grieving." I'm like, he just died. This is a normal reaction. You're just projecting because you don't like this character. This character can be annoying, but Ashley is well within her right to be sad, but I digress. So Naomi is there just trying to support her friend and try to get her to eat and wash her tail at the very least. But Ashley's just So then Naomi does convince Ashley to go wash her butt, and she calls Jan to come over because she's like, Ashley needs you. Now we don't know who Naomi's talking to on the phone, but we see it's Jan. And Jan had already offered to come over, but Ashley was just like, no, But it was good that Jan came over. So when Ashley comes out of the shower, she is catching back up with Naomi, and then the door rings and it's Jan, and Ashley's like, "What are you doing here?" And Naomi says, "I called her," and then Ashley is thanking Naomi so much for being there for her, but she's like, "You also need to take your own advice because." You need time to process this too because Derek was your friend as well. And so Naomi's like, I agree. And since Jan is here, I will leave. And so she heads out. So Jan is there doting on Ashley, and Jan is also very hurt by this because she considered Derek like a son. He had been around so long, and she's really sad that this happened to him. So then there's another knock at the door, and it is Grayson. And Ashley was like, "What do you want?" No hello, no kiss my foot. He's standing there with flowers, and this is after he has given his statement to the police and explained how he tried to stop the bleeding and how Derek jumped in front of the bullet. Okay. Well, actually, let's go back to that. Sorry. Before he goes over to Ashley, he is at the precinct, like I said, with Jacob, and Jacob's getting his statement, and Elon is satisfied with what happened, and he still Grayson still has to testify as part of his immunity deal. So fine. So Ren is being escorted past them, and Jacob's like, "What? You got something to say? Okay, okay, Rashad, you done, but whatever." And Ren was like, "Yeah, the org goes so deep, like." Psh, I'll find a way out of this, and the next time the bullet will not miss. So Grace's booty cheeks are getting tight. He was like, can Ren really get out? Is this true? And will Leah be let out?" So Grayson is scared. And Jacob's like, whatever. So then Grayson goes over to Ashley's with a nice bouquet, but Ashley's like, what? What do you want? So then Grayson said, hold on, I want to make sure that I'm getting this right because I have my little notes together. Let's see. So yeah, Grayson is there and he is ready to tell the truth, but it's like um and at one point he asks Jan for privacy with Ashley. Sorry, brain fart. Grayson is there and he asks Jan for privacy so he can speak to Ashley alone. And that's when he finally wants to open up. And that's pretty much where we left it on Thursday. So then we're back to the hospital. We see Marcel questioning Leah because he's like, my, how the mighty have fallen. Because I don't know if Marcel's playing a game or if he is truly offended because he's like, this girl got me. I thought Leah was cool. I thought she was on our side and she played me. So Marcel is even thinking like, I need to wrap up my retirement because I'm slipping, but whatever. So he's talking to Leah and he was just like, I'm wondering how you got wrapped up in all of this. And he tells her it's not too late, but she is refusing to talk. So Marcel was like, well, see you at the jailhouse. And he leaves. I think that's when he went to go see Joey. Joey had a lot of visitors that day, but whatever. We can get to that later. So yeah, Leah is just refusing to speak without an attorney. So then Shanice is doing her rounds and she has to check on Leah and she is pissed. And Leah knows it too, and Leah is trying to like explain herself, explain her reasoning, and Shanice is like, I don't want to hear it. Derek was one of my best friends and you got him killed. And she told Leah point blank, period, you can rot in hell. Have a nice day. And that's that on that. Shanice is not forgiving this. So, um later we see Jacob questioning Leah separately and she claims she doesn't know anything and she wouldn't know the impaler if they held a gun to her head. I don't believe you. And she's still refusing to speak unless she has an attorney. So let's just see what happens with that as time goes on. So Joey has been at this casino and he one visit was from Elon, and he is big mad. He was like, I asked you months ago if you had anything to do with this, and then we catch one of your workers around this warehouse. What's going on, Joey? He does not believe that Joey has no dealings in this, and Joey maintains, I didn't. Elon was like, if you are lying to me, basically, there is gonna be hell to pay. Period. Period. And Joey's like basically said like, well, are you threatening me? Like you shouldn't be threatening me as a chief of police. And Elon like, I don't care, because now at this point it's personal. His son was in danger. Elon don't care. He has been fully activated. Now, who else? Marcel also visits Joey because remember, Marcel is technically on Joey's payroll, and Marcel took care of Kenny last year. Pew pew. Anyways, Marcel came to get him some of that good scotch that they all like to drink at Joey's Casino, and he was just like, Leah got me. I must be slipping because Marcel has wanted to retire on his boat Sheila since 2025, but Joey won't let him because he still needs him to do some work. And so Marcel was trying to bring that up again, and Joey's like, well, you can't retire yet, but you can have one of these drinks. And that was basically it. So then Joey's third visitor was a surprise. It was Donnell, Wonder Twin number two or one. I don't know. So he is confronting Joey about this blood ring and how he's starting to think that his sister Deanna has been right all along because Vanessa keeps playing these games with these kids. Donnell is not just drinking the Kool-Aid anymore. He's listening to his sister and he's observing and he's like, he had talked to Vanessa earlier saying, like, this is something like this has Joey's name written all over. And she's like, no, he wouldn't do that. He would, girl, you know he would do it. I'm so sick. You can't be in that type of work and be dumb and delusional. And that girl, she's gonna get them pinched something serious. Anyways, Donnell is back on his I need to know what is going on. Okay? So then we also see Kat at the table at the country club talking to Tomas, and she's just theorizing about everything. She's just like, she thinks that Leah possibly had Lynette offed because Lynette wiped out Leah's investment accounts and she had nothing. And this is what pushed her into this plaza ring. Let her tell it. So Kat and Tomas are just talking about all their theories out loud in public. And Vanessa is one table over, just ear hustling. And when she heard, oh, that Kat only wants to ask one question, if Leah had Lynette killed, she was like, "Ugh." And that's basically how that episode ends. So then we get to Friday, May 22nd, and we open right back up with Vanessa ear hustling and running on over to that table to be like, oh, so you think, are you telling me you think Leah killed Lynette? Why is that your business? But whatever. So they talk about their theories, and it's like, yeah, Lynette ruined Leah's life, and Leah strikes her as a by any means necessary type of individual. So Cat's like, it's possible. That's basically what that's basically what they were talking about with Leah. So then they get on the cotillion conversation because Tomas wants to deflect from this because he is not supposed to be talking to people about this. Anyways, he's the worst at keeping his mouth shut. Where is the attorney-client privilege? Up. Anyways, so he's like, oh, well, how was the cotillion? And Vanessa was like, oh, it was good, but Deanna was having another episode, and this and that. She was talking a little crap about Deanna. Oh, because she did have an episode, actually. I'm sorry. I forgot about that. At the cotillion, she was just like in a good mood, and she said, oh, Mom, Vanessa, like, do you want to come and get ice cream with me and Donnell later? And Vanessa was so happy, but then Joey called, and Deanna was like, I hate you again, just like that. So that's the episode that Vanessa was referring to. Now, Kat is on the other side of the table, and while Vanessa is talking, she's like, "What? Like, what's going on?" Because Kat was like, like basically, you might want to keep your mouth shut because why is Deanna walking up right behind her?" Vanessa did not know. So Deanna was like, "Wow, I actually came to apologize, but now I have no interest since you're here talking crap about me." Deanna. I was finally proud of Vanessa because I know Vanessa is a dingbat and delusional and loose. But I cannot stand the way Deanna disrespects her mother. And if it were me, oh, I would have cleaned her clock a long time ago. But this time, Vanessa was like, ah, I've been trying to reach out to you. You have been ignoring me. I am not doing this today. And she leaves her standing right there. I'm like, yes, Vanessa, take your parental power back. Anyway, so at that point, Kat gets Tomas to leave the table. She's like, oh, you remember that thing? He's like, what? Oh, yeah, let me leave. So then Kat and Deanna are able to have a one-on-one conversation. And you know what? Kat gets on my nerves too, but she is very good with Donnell, Deanna, just the younger generation. She's very good with talking to them. So they relate about how difficult it is to accept outsiders after the failed marriages, or in this case her dad's death. With major changes in a relationship, it's hard to accept new people. And Deanna's like, yeah, it is. And like I said, she and Kat were able to bond over it. And so they both left the conversation with more to think about. I don't know what Kat is referring to. I thought she was referring to maybe easing up on Eva permanently, but based on what I saw today, that's not happening. But yeah. So it seems like they both left with their own clarity, but I don't know what the clarity was, and I'm sure it will play out. So then we go back to Donnell at the casino. He is full on confronting Joey. He is back to original Donnell, who came in hot before that funeral. So he's just like, what was your involvement in last night's shootout? And Joey's like, what, me? I run a legitimate casino. I wasn't there. Donnell's like, look, I don't want to hear this. I, you, I know what the socials say about you, and I'm starting to believe them. I need you to tell me the truth. So he was like, I'm going to ask you one more time. And I need you to tell me the truth. And he was like, did you have anything to do with my daddy's death? Now, before that, Joey was busy proclaiming his love for Vanessa, which I believe. Because I don't think he's playing around about the love thing because he's opening himself up too much for like a prosecution or just general exposure by dealing with this dingbat. So I think he really does love her. But Donna was like, okay, you love her, but did you kill my daddy? And we're left hanging there. So, so then we are back at the hospital and we see Ted having a meeting with Anita and Vernon. Anita and Vernon are on the hospital board of directors, and so you can imagine Garland Memorial is a poop show right now with this whole thing coming out about their chief of staff, Leah, and her involvement with these criminal activities. So Vernon and Anita are there for an emergency meeting with Ted to discuss the replacement of the chief of staff. So Anita and Vernon want to bring in Shanice's aunt, Dr. Monica McCormick, because they think she has good experience and she could hit the ground running basically. Now Ted counters with, well, why don't we, we're overlooking someone. What about Nicole? And so Vernon and Anita are like, well, we don't doubt Nicole's expertise and her capabilities of doing this role. We doubt her desire to do the role. And then Vernon was like, are you just suggesting Nicole so you can get back into her good graces? She was like, no, I not do that. Maybe a little bit. But Ted says no, and he just thinks that Nicole would be the best choice because she's already knowledgeable. Everybody already knows her. They respect her. And this would probably ease the concerns of the staff if they had someone that they trusted in the role as opposed to someone they don't really know and they have to get to know her, yada, yada, yada. So what Ted is saying is right. But, two things can be true at one time because I do think he's trying to get brownie points. So Anita and Vern are like, all right, I hear what you're saying. And we will take this into consideration, but you need to talk to Nicole about it first, don't you think? And Vernon was like, yeah, because she definitely don't like secrets, especially coming from you. Ted always catches a stray, but whatever. So that's basically how they ended, and we have yet to see Ted talk to Nicole about this just yet. So then we see, oh, so then we see Andre and Danny at home, and he has gotten this opportunity for his, I believe, cotillion pictures to be featured in Essence. And Danny's like, why are you not more excited? So Andre is over there having a pit party because somehow in his mind, he is partially responsible for Derek's death. He's like, if I hadn't meddled with Ashley, Derek was so insecure, maybe they wouldn't have broken up. Maybe I wouldn't have broke them up and they'd still be together and maybe things would be different. And Danny's like, no, you can't blame yourself for that. And I agree because I'm like, honey, that's a reach. Anyway, Andre just he confessed to Danny that he felt guilty for circling Ashley while she and Derek were together. And Danny tells him to stop punishing himself. And she also says, like, we're in this marriage, we're open with each other. How about you go and visit Ashley just to make sure she's okay? And Andre, he was like, how about we go? That's right, Andre. That is how you keep a marriage. So we we go over to Ashley's apartment. We see Grayson there with his little bouquet and he's ready to tell her the full truth. And Ashley's like, well, it's a little too late, isn't it? Because Derek is dead now. Okay? And I'm like, she's pissed. She's not gonna forgive Grayson for this because she done lost her boo now. So Grayson's trying to explain everything, and she like, yeah, 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 you could have told me this 2 weeks ago. It's too late now. And he's like, Ash. And she was like, don't you call me Ash. That is Derek's nickname for me. And she just wants Grayson to leave. And Grace is like, I'm not gonna leave you because I promised your mom I would stay with you. She's like, ugh. So then there's a knock at the door, and it's Danny and Andre. And she was like, great. Perfect timing. Now you don't need to stay. Can you leave, please? And Grayson just takes his. Did he take the flowers? I don't know. He does what she asks. So Danny and Andre are just like, this is uncomfortable. So then they come in and they do a really good job of supporting Ashley. It's not weird. It's not nobody's making googly eyes at each other. They are all genuinely concerned. And even Danny, she was like, come here. And she held her like her own daughter. And Ashley was just in Danny's arms as soon as Grayson left. And they are just trying to talk to her, like, focus on the good times and you know, it's just unfortunate. So then Danny starts asking, she's like, I hate to pry. And I'm not trying to pry, but who was that? Because I could feel the tension. And Ashley, like, explained a little bit. And Danny was like, you don't have to go into too much detail, but, like, basically, if it's draining you, keep them away. Sound advice. She was like, you don't have to entertain anyone that you don't want to entertain in this moment of your life and basically focus on you. And Ashley tells them that, just them being there has been helpful and she thanks them for being there. So cool. So then Friday was a little crazy. So then we see Deanna just walking through the club. I guess she was going to the gym or whatever. And then she hears a familiar voice. And why is it Doug? I said, what in the touched by an angel is this? Because he's supposed to be in the upper room with Derek, but he's right there in the club hallway. And I'm like, okay. And that Big A was real strong. But, and she's like, she's just gasping. And he's just standing there smirking. And that's how it ends. Okay? So yeah, that was everything that happened the week of May 18th. It was so crazy. I'm so glad I finally caught up. And I did say I was going to go over today's, but you know what? I am going to move the deep dive to a weekly format. And so I will catch up with you guys over the weekend. I may even go live, but I don't know. So, once again, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you guys the next time. Like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.